Oh, Tim from Fair Play now on the 5th of April 2023. So, a bit of a frustrating one just back there. I'm winding down for Easter now, really. Gonna have the whole 4 days off, and video wise, I'll do a couple of videos, I should think, over the period, but I'm not going to do it every day over Easter. Gonna have a bit of a break. Well, I say a bit of a break, I'm probably going to be doing a lot of chores around here. There's quite a lot that needs doing, a lot of cleaning up, a lot of sorting out, and a lot of vegetables to get in, as it's that time of year. So going to be quite busy, but not with my usual stuff. But yeah, like I say, I'm winding down a little bit. Tomorrow, just got a couple of easy jobs to do, and then that's it. Today, all I was doing is, well, I was going to put together some flat pack furniture, garden furniture for a friend. So that's all I've got today. And so she had it ready for Easter, but I started doing the first chair, and what a nightmare. What you're supposed to do when you've got it mostly assembled, you're supposed to put two halves of the chair together basically, and you're expected to line up kind of literally about 30 tabs into sort of 30 slots like that, and you've got to get everyone to line up and everything, which if it was sort of really fine, top quality engineering, really top quality, even then it wouldn't be the best. But if that was the case, maybe. But when it's sort of cheap made in China stuff, no chance, absolutely no chance. So I had to give that one up for a bad job. She's gonna return the stuff and get another furniture set instead, so which will hopefully be a bit better. Anyway, so that's a little bit of a frustrating one. Did you see that video, that Mark Devlin talk? I don't know if you found that bit I was telling you to look at in particular really spooky. You know, when you play that record in reverse and she's saying "I love Satan." Yeah, that was really spooky, wasn't it? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll leave a link to Mark Devlin's latest video that I kind of recorded the other night in the comments, in the description box below, and then you want to go and check out from about 25 minutes into 29 minutes, and then you'll find out what I'm going on about. But if you saw that, yeah, very spooky, and just the amount of times these people sort of signal their allegiance to that kind of thing, and also the amount of time they let slip a bit of predictive programming, or sort of foretelling the future or whatever. Again, in the same presentation, Mark Devlin was saying how Prince was saying about basically about what was going to happen in 3 years time, which it was 1998, so 3 years time was 2001, and he seemed to be making very strong references about the Twin Towers. And then also that Michael Jackson album sleeve, where it looks like a lot of the city is turning to dust, just like the towers did when they were coming down. And again, that was about 4 years before the sort of 9/11 attacks. So yeah, it just boggles the mind, doesn't it, all of this kind of thing. I've had quite an interesting thought about these album covers from the likes of Michael Jackson and all of the rest of them, and also these other things, artistic expressions of which seem to predict future events like 9/11, and you then sort of think, well, were they party to these terrible events? Why did they know about them? But that is one way of looking at it. But there's another way of looking at it as well, which I was made aware of this by a talk from a guy called Thomas Sheridan a few months ago, and what he reckons, or what he was saying, is when a huge event like 9/11 happens, it sends out massive psychic shockwaves into space and time, and some of those shockwaves actually go back into time. And if you go back quite a lot of years, quite a lot of decades, you may well get highly spiritual people, highly artistic people, highly sensitive people who pick up on these shockwaves, and they then come out with pieces of art that seem to predict the future. So that is an extremely interesting concept, and who knows, that could well be what's going on. Maybe people like these artists, these musicians weren't party to future events and in on the plot of it all, and maybe they were just picking up on these psychic shockwaves. So an interesting one, don't you think? So thought I'd finish today's collection of thoughts by reading out a letter from a viewer. He likes to stay anonymous, but he knows who he is, and if you're watching, hi, and thanks for sending this in. So basically, he sat down and he thought, really, I guess he put down in a letter form what he'd like to say to the powers that shouldn't be. That's the best way to describe it. And when I say powers that shouldn't be, and when I read out this letter, the kind of people it's addressed to are all of the politicians, all of the celebrities, all of the mainstream media types, etc, 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 who have been pushing the mainstream narrative for the last 3 years. And yeah, it's a very heartfelt letter, and I think it really sums up how I think we're all thinking about this. So let's just read this out. So I'm just trying to get it so I can actually read it, so it's big enough. The eyes aren't quite what they used to be. So let's start. To the perpetrators, emphasis on traitors. I write to you concerning your actions as a perpetrator of the crimes against humanity that have been orchestrated against Western people since March 2020. Your attempts to road the individual have failed. Indeed, the ridiculous alert system you now seek to create represents the shrinking platform you have for your globalist plans. Your time as a globalist puppet is done, and they will discard you as soon as you outlive your usefulness. There is no seat on the ark for you. The hellscape you sought to create of VIDs, quarantine camps, travel bans, food bans, work bans, etc. have all foundered, and in the future people will scratch their heads trying to figure out your motivations. However, none of that matters as of now. I would like you to know that by using propaganda, hate and blackmail, you eliminated any notion of informed consent. This leaves the knotty question of liability, in particular karmic liability. Someone has to pay this debt, and that someone is you, along with all the cronies who participated in pushing the narrative, unwinding the Nuremberg Code, and subjecting trusting citizens to a global assault that is without precedent. Just taking a break there, just a little aside about karma and karmic debt that this guy talks about. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in karma or any of that sort of thing, you think all that kind of thing's a load of rubbish. The point is, the powers that shouldn't be, all of those
so-called elites, whatever you want to call them, they do believe in it. And there is a theory, the whole reason why they like to do this hidden in plain sight thing is they can then turn around and say, well, we did tell you, that absolves us of any karmic liability, which it doesn't, as this guy so eloquently says. Anyway, let's carry on. The karmic debt falls on you, and unfortunately for you and them, also on your family, both present and future. Are you content that your actions amount to glorifying the Black Christ? By ignoring this, you compound your crimes, and there is probably no way to avoid the karmic debt. It has to be paid. Your family members will not thank you for this, and they can avoid the debt only by repudiating you and begging for forgiveness from your many victims. It really doesn't matter that you own the police, the army, the judiciary, the media, etc. They also push the same narrative, and they all share the same karmic debt as you. Those are merely earthly minions that will be swept aside by like leaves in a storm. It may help you a little to reject the path you are on, at least for your own conscience, if you have one. Your family members will become the future victims of your actions, just as your specifically targeted victims suffered in 2020 to now. So don't worry about ending up in court. You're headed for a court that you don't own, and that you, along with your bloodline, will be weighed in the balance and found wanting. The end. And wow, isn't that a powerful letter? That kind of really sort of struck me, and it's really is addressed to the powers that shouldn't be. And if there's anyone from the likes of them who are watching me and this video, you may think you've got away with it, but you haven't. In the end, you will be judged, you will be found liable, and you will be brought to account, if not in this life, certainly in the next. So there is no getting away from this, as the viewer there said. So quite powerful stuff, eh? And so true. Don't know what you think about it. Any comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be back soon. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.